I'm originally from Summerville, South Carolina, by way of now Detroit. What up, though? You guys can see it on my board. That's what we say. What up, though? I've been living there now for about 10 years. I still don't know what the hell it means, but what up, though? From Detroit. A couple other things. How many school owners do we have in the building? All right. Okay, we got 2. That's good. That's 2 more than I thought that we would have. Any instructors? Okay, now we talking. All right, here we go. Any inspiring instructors? God bless you. God bless you too, sir. So we're going to get started. Any questions before we get started? Everybody can see? Everybody good? All right, perfect. So, again, Roderick Samuels. I am one of the lead educators for Wall Clipper Company. As I talked to you guys about before, I am or have been working with several manufacturers in the education field. I've done work for my lady as a contract educator. I've done training for my lady as well. As of recently, for the Pivot Point Fundamentals of Barbering curriculum, I actually helped to write that. For anybody who uses Pivot Point in their schools, congratulations. You guys have one of the most amazing curriculums that you ever could have. And if you do not use Pivot Point inside of your schools right now, if you use SEMA, Lady, whatever the case may be, they're all good, but I would love to challenge you all to at least call your rep and talk about Pivot Point, and let me tell you why. Pivot Point is one of the most revolutionary curriculums that you can actually have. They're one of the first that thinks about diversity and inclusivity when it comes down to our students. You'll see lessons on there about 2-strand twists, braids, color for texture. Their nail program that they have it's phenomenal. But I'm on the barber side, but I can tell you this, my students who are very inclusive and diverse, I have black students, white students, Hispanic students, I have Asian students, I have gay, straight, bi, triangle, whatever you can imagine, right? I have those in my school, and one thing that I'm super proud of, and not just because it's my school, but I love to see my white students start to do Afro-textured hair. I love to see my African-American students start to do more straight hair. I love the fact that my guys love doing color. I love the fact that my ladies like doing straight braids or shaves. So these are some of the things in the 21st century or the modern landscape of education that we really need to be starting to look at, okay? Any questions so far? Can I get a that's what's up?
That's what's up.
All right, perfect. So we're going to talk a little bit about wins, losses, and lessons. I want us to make sure that we are on the same page when we start up our day. There's never a loss in education. There's always going to be a lesson. As someone who it took 20 years to become an overnight success, I can tell you that there's never any losses. There's always going to be a lesson. Not only that, but we actually now have to push these things into our students, okay? Students right nowadays, they have been conditioned mentally through YouTube University. So us making an effort to be like, hey, don't watch YouTube, hey, don't do this, that's at a moot point. What we now have to do as 21st century educators in actual educational facilities is take that information and make it ours, right? So if they have somebody, my students love 360 Jeezy. Anybody ever heard of 360 Jeezy? All right, how old are you, sir?
25.
He knew about 360 Jeezy. I don't know who 360 Jeezy is. However, I will go online, I will go to YouTube, and I will create lessons around those things that my students like. Prepare for war in time of peace as school owners. Right now, you all do anybody schools accredited? You guys go to accredited schools? Anybody looking for accreditation? I think it was you, right? So if you guys don't know right now, the Department of Education is making the biggest plug to defund. And defund now, listen, cosmetology, barber, nails, and aesthetic schools. Do you all realize what that's going to do to our industry? If they start to defund all of the students that do not have the proper income or resources, that come from low economically developed areas, right? We have nothing. And if you think about it, we always talk about that it's a nuance, right? We never talk about sex, religion, politics, right? That went off. But now it's to a point where we have to talk a little bit about politics and what that looks like. Again, Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. Make sure your students vote. They don't understand the power of one. That one vote, in their minds, oh, I'm not going to vote this year, whatever the case. But that one vote can take them from being good to great and then greatness to becoming unstoppable. Okay, everybody with me? Can I get that? That's what's up. All right, so cutting edge concepts and techniques. So normally my wife teaches this class with me, but we are in the process of switching over our third-party processing system. For a lot of us, that may be FAME. For some of us who are accredited schools, it may be SMART. And if I'm saying anything that sounds like Greek to you, take notes so I can know, and then email me, and I will give you all the information on some of the subjects you don't know. I am not one of those people who did it on my own and started it all, so I'm going to make y'all work for it. My job as a leader is to create more leaders. So if I give the information out to you, guess what we can do? We can give it back to somebody else. So that's not who I am. I am not Hollywood, I am neighborhood. All right? I've been in the industry for 20 plus years. My lovely wife, who is actually outside of the convention center working because that's where the best Wi-Fi is. My wife is a 2-time North American Hairstyling Award winner in texture. She actually had the hat trick at the Midwest Hairstyling Award. She won Master Stylist of the Year, Hairstylist of the Year, and Texture Stylist of the Year. My piddly little ass got Barber Stylist of the Year. I only got one. She's the brainchild, right? And I am completely sexist. She is smarter than me. She has so much more information than me, and I'm just glad that she chose me. Happy house, happy spouse. So I want to make sure that I mention her in this. Again, 20 plus years of the beauty and barber experience. I am a director. I don't like to call myself an owner because that makes people a little leery sometimes, but I'm the director of education and social and emotional intelligence at Hairstyling Detroit Barber School. And I would like to think of myself and my wife as thought leaders and educational innovators in our industry. Okay? Any questions? Can we keep going? Yep. All right. So I need everybody to lock in real quick. And please take note of what's going on here. So our overview. In my opinion, of course that's the most weak commodity known to man, but I'm in it every day and I see it from a different lens than a lot of other people do. I see my students who have to sleep in their cars because they don't have any place to live. I see these students who come from social and economic deprived neighborhoods, and they know that they need to do something, but they don't know exactly what they need to do. And of course, one of the good things about barbering, cosmetology, nails, and aesthetics is they don't care about your past. Your past has passed. The only thing that we really care about is, can you do a great haircut? Can you be a nice human being? And can you have some morals, right? Hurt people, and you guys that are working in schools right now, you probably see this. You have that one student that acts out all the time, but let me explain to you why that student acts out. It could be one or two things. Number one, does anybody know that the national average of students coming into our industry right out of high school, their reading level is at 8th grade? I'm about to take y'all on a whole different journey. We have students that are coming into our programs, number one, they can't read. With them not being able to read, that affects the academics. For someone who act out and they don't want to read in class and they have trouble with their notes, it's 9 times out of 10 is because they don't have the reading competency that they need. One of the things that we actually implemented into our program is that I partnered with our local literacy program and had someone come in at least once a week. They're teaching our students on how to better prepare themselves to read through the curriculum and the questions at the state board level. We all know that that's those diseases, disorders in hair, scalp, and skin. If you don't understand proper terminology, you will never pass the dang test. You know who else knows that? The people we vote for. I know that we're not supposed to talk about sex, religion, other people, and politics, but you know what we got to talk about a little bit? Politics. The other thing that we see inside of our building is culture. Our culture has 3 different words: show up, work hard, and listen. I promise my students, and I'm not telling you not a broken promise, right? I promise my students every single week, if you do these 3 things, if you show up, if you work hard, and if you listen, you're going to be successful. Not just in our industry, but in life. How many people, by show of hands, find yourself teaching life skills and not cosmetology or barbering? Please raise your hand.
Man, if you don't preach.
Come on, man. Listen, we are here, right? I don't spend enough time talking about clipper over comb or shear over comb. I have to talk to my students about, hey, sweetheart, why is it that you cannot Why is it that you cannot go to a bank to cash your check?
Amen.
Why is it at 23 years old with your son that you don't have a working bank account, but you have an LLC?
Yeah, right.
Come on, make it make sense, right? And as educators, I'm glad you said that, young man. We have to make it make sense. I find myself being more of a mother and a father to my students than teaching them about the greatness and the amazing life that they can have as a person who works in the personal appearance industry. It's our job as leaders to create more leaders. How do we create more leaders? We create more leaders through, what's the first one? Academics. The second one is culture. You need to make sure that your school's culture is impeccable. Your school's culture cannot be flawed. It needs to have a saying. Hair Lab Detroit Barber School. Show up, work hard, and listen. It is very purpose-driven, everything that we do. Be intentional. It's not about who's right, it's about what's right. We teach our students these things every single day. And I promise you all, for those of us that are struggling right now, because I know I'm not by myself, if you throw enough shit against the wall, at some point something's going to stick. Right? How many times have you known your students to come from families and they always told them what they couldn't do?
Say it again.
How many times have you dealt with students from your demographic, from your marketplace, and they've only been taught what they couldn't do? They've only been told what they could not do. And you know who that burden falls on now? It falls on us. Inside your school's culture, you need to remind your students that what they are, what they can do. All right? God bless my mom, so she was an educator in the personal, my mom was an educator in a public school system for 33 plus years. I can never remember a time in my 46 years on this earth that my mom ever told me what I couldn't do. When I came up with this crazy ass idea to start a school, right? Hey, Ma, I'm gonna start a school. She said, oh my God, that's so amazing. Most parents, especially parents who look like us, that come from traumas from their past, and they've only been told what they couldn't do. Those are the things, and those are the traits that are being instilled in our students today that are coming to enroll in our schools. We cannot allow that. Build your culture. Don't run around your business, run it. Tell your students what they can do every day. Tell them what they are capable of every day. And I promise you guys, if you change the way they look at things, the things they look at will change. Most of the time, especially in barber schools, it's, all I want to do is fades and tapers. Well, guess what? That's not going to get you to pass the state board test. That's not what's on our curriculum for the state of Michigan. So you know what I need you to do? I need you to roll this goddamn perm. And I need you to learn how to part the section. And I need you to learn how to do a solid form haircut, or in some other curriculums, 0 degree. And then I see it. Guess what happens? When you have the proper academics and the right culture, you know what you get? It clicks. Mr. Sam, what's up, man? You know what? I've been really kind of checking this thing out. You know what I really like? What you really like? Man, I like doing the hair color. Hair color? I should even get you to pick up the brush. And now you want to do hair color. And I like the fact that our culture gives our students opportunities to kind of choose their own adventure. Today's students don't want to be told what to do, and I don't think practically none of us do, but especially this generation, right? We have so many negative things to talk about Gen Z and Gen X, and they're lazy, and whatever the case may be. But what if we take that opportunity to really get to know these students? We always talk about it, and as far as we're concerned, it's all about professionalism, right? Oh, you got to be professional. You got to have this professional image. We're not in the hair business. We're in the people business. But why aren't we seeing the same things in the generation of people that we're teaching? They're not bad. They're not lazy. They're just different. And again, like I said earlier, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. So we're going to focus on the academics. We're going to talk about culture. And that one thing that we don't want to teach, but we have to now, is life skills. And I'm not just talking about life skills like, hey, you should probably pay your bills on time. I'm talking about making sure that your students have a way to cash their refund checks that doesn't involve a liquor store or a check cashing place. Can I tell y'all a story real quick? And I'm gonna show you guys how academics, culture, and life skills can actually build a great student. I had a student Beautiful young lady came in. She finally reached her. Our program is 1,800 hours, right? So she finally reached her 350 hours, right? I needed to make sure that she was in SAP. Does anybody not know what SAP means? Good. SAP means satisfactory academic progress. In order for the federal government to continue to give you federal funds, you need to make sure that you are at least 80% in attendance and 80% in academics. Imagine that being in an area where the average reading level is 8th grade. Beautiful young lady, she comes in, give her a refund check. This is more money than this child has ever seen in her life. It was $2,000. Miss Sam, yeah, baby, what's up? I got to go. I need to leave school early. I said, well, we need to leave school. I got to get this check cash so I can pay my rent and I can pay. Why is it that our students sign up for school knowing that they do not have the resources and the support at home to babysit their children? They don't have the financial awareness to know that they should have a bank account. And they don't understand that when you go to a check cashing place or a liquor store, because my mom used to have to go to the liquor store sometimes when my daddy check was short. Yeah, I'm neighborhood, I'm not Hollywood. That these people are taking a substantial amount of money out of your check that you need to feed your son and to get by. My phone rings. Hello? Hey, Miss Sam. Hey, baby, what's going on? Hey, nothing. Listen. Can you verify my check? Verify your. Where you at? Oh, I'm at a check cashing place. I said, well, while you're at a check cashing place, you should be at the bank. Oh, well. I said, well, we bank with Bank of America as a school. Why don't you go to Bank of America and open up a student checking account? Sidebar: have your local banks or community federal credit unions come into your school and teach your students life skills, how to start a bank account.
Yes.
I had all of my students get a bank account at Bank of America. And let me tell you why. I need my students to understand, number one, the importance of their life skills. I need them to be able to have access to their funds, or either access to be able to cash their refund checks or cost of living checks, bless you, so that they can actually live. But they don't know about bank accounts. They don't know how bank account works. They don't know that in order for you to be successful, especially in our industry, you need to be able to have a place where your money goes. This is not the days of when it used to be underneath the mattress like drug money. All right? She calls me back again. Mr. Sanders, hey baby, what's going on? Listen, can you verify? I said, we just talked about this. This is the second place you've been. So she went from the check cashing place, now she at the liquor store, trying to cash a check and get a fifth. I said, sweetie, do me a favor. I said, go to Bank of America, and I don't care wherever you bank, go to Bank of America and open you up a student account. They're not gonna take your money. My wife and I bank there, our school banks there, our businesses bank there. They're gonna look out for you. Just tell them we sent you. Ask me if she did that.
She did.
No.
She ain't did shit. Finally, she went somewhere, she got the check cash. They took 20% of that $2,000 check. 20%? That's like getting stabbed at a shootout. It's not supposed to happen, right? So again, if you as school leaders, the leaders of the new generation of barbers and stylists, and nail techs and estheticians, listen, focus on the academics, and that just doesn't mean the curriculum. I'm powered up. That means the reading. Our students can't read, y'all. My mom, years ago, I said, Mom, why are you retiring? She said, these kids bad as shit. I said, no, but really, why are you retiring? She said, no child left behind. She said, by no child left behind, it's left all
All
the
of
children
them behind.
Come on now, let me know when I'm preaching.
You can
All
preach
right?
it.
From a cultural standpoint, right? the diversity and inclusivity that everybody is talking about, who's really executing these things to make sure that your students who do not look like you or don't come from the same social and economic area that you do are getting what they need? And lastly, the life skills. We got to teach about bank accounts. We got to teach them about taxes, y'all. I had one of the local ladies from Liberty Tax Service come in and speak to our students about how to properly file as an independent contractor. Our students don't understand that if you start your own business, you can pay yourself from the business. Remember when the pandemic hit? I can't tell you guys how many students I had. This is Sam. What's up, man? Dang, man, I can't get unemployment. I said, well, why not? Well, you know, I've been handling cash. I said, you're dumb. Why are you just holding all the cash? Start a bank account, put your money in your bank account, start your business account, pay yourself out of business. You can write yourself checks. What? I can write myself a check? I said, yeah, it's your business, which means that it's your money from your bank account. I said, but the smart thing is now, instead of becoming a contractor, you're now an employee of, I don't know where to cash my checks, LLC. We got to get them to start thinking global and not local. Adapting to post-pandemic. How many of you, by show of hands, understand that the pandemic has messed a lot of our students up? Please raise your hand. Very good. Some of the post-pandemic challenges that we've had as a school, and this is something I consult with schools all across the country. These are some of the things that they're dealing with. Industry, trends, and technology. How many of you all feel really good about utilizing technology in the classroom? Please raise your hand. All right, good. How many of us feel like, I don't want to deal with this at all, and I think that social media is stupid? Good. One of the things that we've had to do is we've had to train our instructors on best practices on how to utilize our social media systems to communicate and build relationships with students, because again, we're not in the hair business, we're in the people business. Right? Social media is social. And unfortunately, our students, they believe what they see. So it's up to us as leaders to disseminate, hey, you know what, that's actually a really good technique, and that's a crock of shit. All right. Second thing, recruitment and retention of qualified instructors. You all know that there is a big lack of teachers in the public school systems. Raise your hand. Guess where else there's a lack? In the beauty business. I cannot tell you guys how hard it is, even with decent pay, to find someone who can come in and be a professional and treat your students or treat their students like they're their own. I've had to, well, people fire themselves from us. I don't fire people. I make it so tough on them to where they want to quit. I ain't paying no uninsured, no unemployment. Won't get that off me, I'm telling you. I make people quit, right? I've had instructors come in and call my students retarded. No. Now I know that mama used to call me that a long time ago. Boy, you're retarded. But guess what? We can't do in schools today. There's certain terminology you just can't use. Number one, retarded, slow, dumb, ignorant. You can't talk to students that way. If more school owners and leaders would understand, much like when we have people sit in our chair, they're our clients, guess who's our clients in the school business? Our students. Treat them like somebody. They're not just a number. I personally forged a relationship with all of my students. I got 56 of them. But I know each one of them by name. I go and greet them every morning. Remember when we were in grade school and the teacher used to sit at the front of the door like this? Hey, little Johnny, come on in. And the teacher would give you 5 or a handshake or a hug. Those are some of the things that we need to get back to doing. These students that are coming into our industry, they've never been loved. These students or people that are coming into our industry, they have never been loved. They have never had anybody to tell them what they can do. They've never had somebody tell them that they are loved, that they are valued, that they have a voice. We have to now recondition and reframe what our curriculums look like and how we speak to students. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I have huddle every morning. How many of you guys do a huddle before you get your day started? Okay, good. During huddle, I tell them what they need to know, I tell them who they need to talk to, and I tell them where they need to be and who they need to be that day. I always started off with a motivational quote. I said, there's nothing in this world that you can't do something about. And sometimes you have to adjust yourself to unpleasant situations so it doesn't steal your spirit. And at the end of my huddle, I said, and by the way, if nobody else has told you today, I love you. Can I tell you how that shapes a culture? You all have the power, and you don't even know it, to be day makers. You can change the trajectory of a child by just telling them you love them. Now, of course, there's rules, right? Oh, don't hug the kids. Don't hug. I break all of them. I hug my students. I give them my personal cell phone number. I need my students to know that somebody else out there cares. Why? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Quote that. Lastly is diversity and inclusivity. Now, for a lot of us that sit in this room, this thing that they have going on in New York, yeah, you gotta teach texture right now in New York schools. I call it bullshit. This is something that should have been taught a long time ago. Why is it that if you go to a predominantly African American school, you only learn about Afro textured hair? Or you go to a predominantly white school, you only learn about straighter textures of hair? Luckily, because of my experience in this industry, I learned both. I grew up in Charleston, South Carolina. They used to have the Air Force Base there. So you know what I used to do? I used to go to the Air Force Base and go and sit inside their barbershops and watch and learn. God bless it that my grandfather used to say, the smartest man is not a man that can recite what he reads out of a book. A smart man or woman is somebody who can teach themselves. Sometimes we got to teach ourselves, y'all. We can't wait on things to be handed to us, especially if we call ourselves real educators. That means to educe, that means to bring things from within. But if we're not even willing to tell a child what they can do, we're not even willing to tell them how much they mean to us and how much we care, and we're not willing to show them that it's not just about white or black, it's about texture, it's about kinky, coily, curly, loose wave, S wave, and all those things, right? That's what the diversity and inclusivity part is. Any questions so far? Now, this is not one more thing, but a better way of doing what we're already doing. How many people struggle with regulatory compliance? Does anybody understand what regulatory compliance means? If you have an accredited school, or if you want to get your school accredited, there's this thing called compliance. That means that the federal government is going to give you money for your students based on a group of rules, laws, and regulations that you have to adhere to. When you go apply for your accreditation, whether it be NACAS, Middle States, a couple other ones out there, right? Our team is going to come and evaluate everything that you said you were going to do, because you have to send in your application. Everything that you state you're doing, guess what you gotta do? You gotta do it. And it has to be documented. Yes, please. Listen, repeat after me. Document. 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 Listen, every single day you need to document everything that your instructors do and what you see at your school. See something, say something, right? There's this thing right now that's going on, and we're talking about regulatory compliance, where there's let me make sure I say this properly. Our government has decided that if a student says that they didn't learn anything, they can ask for student forgiveness. We had a guy, a former student, that we had to kick out because he tried to fight one of the instructors. Hello. Because he holding your students accountable makes them angry. Yeah, what you mean I'm wrong? I'm wrong. You're telling me I'm wrong? Yeah, 1,000%. You're wrong. Ah, you're doing too much. That's cap. Oh, you operate big. Listen, on Monday, you guys check my Instagram. I just did a little skit where it's the 30 different things that we as barber and beauty instructors need to know that our students talk about. It's so we can communicate with them effectively. That's on gang. Right? But now this is called BDR, right? Anybody heard of BDR claims? So now I had a student that actually put in a BDR claim because he promised himself he wasn't going to pay back his student loans. So he put in a claim while he was still enrolled in school that he wasn't learning anything. Repeat after me. Document.
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 Document. We had extensive documentation on his absences, his grades, anytime that he had a problem in class. We have a form that all of our instructors have to fill out every day. It's called a daily report sheet. Tell me what you liked about today. Tell me if you had any challenges. And lastly, what do you need? I also need my team to know that I love them. They're the change makers. They make the school. He filed a BDR claim. We get the claim. I said, well, what's going on? What do you mean? Oh, he filed this before he even was kicked out of school. So it was premeditated. So now guess what? And I love the fact that our attorney is Middle Eastern. She is a pit bull in a skirt, and I love her. Guess what now? He's going to have, yes, we have asked her to file a claim against him for fraud. Run your business, don't run around it. If these students that are coming into our building will spend just as much time doing the work than trying to get out of it, do you know how many amazing future professionals we can have? But they won't do that because they've been told what they couldn't do. They've been told that they didn't have a voice. They've been told that you don't have to follow the rules because that's what the pandemic told us. What rules? This is what our past president told us. We don't need rules. I don't pay taxes. Taxes? What's that? But now, one of your students can't buy a home or buy a car because they don't know how to properly file or they don't have the resources to show that they actually have an income. Whose fault is that? A quality education. Repeat after me, please. Think global,
Think global.
not local.
Not local.
Think global,
Think global.
not local.
Not local.
So many times our students only get to see what's around them, and that stunts their growth. Make sure you're bringing in additional education. Educators from all across the country if you can. If you got to, tell them to just do a Zoom, right? They need to get outside of their bubbles and in their environments in order to see what the possibilities are, right? If you think global, I want my students to be able to go anywhere in the country, whether they focus on straight hair, textured, kinky, curly, nails, backs, it doesn't matter to me, right? I want them to be able to service anybody who sits inside their chair. That is globalization. That is a quality education. But most of our barber instructors and cosmetology instructors, they only teach what they know. So as leaders, as school owners, go and seek out the education that you need to fulfill your educational requirements. And that means making sure that your students know how to do straight hair, texture, perms, relaxers, fades, tapers, basic manicures and pedicures, or if you're in a nail program, they need to go all out. Get your students to compete in these national competitions. Anybody ever heard of this thing called warm fuzzy? It's a good feeling. When your students enter these competitions, even if they don't win, it's a good feeling to know that they have a body of work that's out there that the world can see. Competitions, that increases school culture, that teaches about life skills. Anytime you do something, you're not always going to win. Any questions so far? These people. Your regulatory compliance comes in a couple different forms, all right? Number one, we have the country. Every state has a different curriculum. Everybody does something different, right? But the federal government who gives us money for our students, they're going to ask something from us. There needs to be a return on that investment. It comes through the Department of Education. This same Department of Education is willing to give hundreds of thousands of dollars to a university. How dare they call our industry low value? This is why they feel like they don't need to fund it anymore. Low value. You know what the low value is? They can't make money off of our students. My program is $20,000. $20,000. I have students that have paid their student loans off 6 months. But why? Because they understand rules, because they get a quality education, they're diverse, and they're just doing a good job. They've been taught great life skills. This is what we're teaching now in our schools. Then you have this, the accreditation. Okay? For those of us who are looking to get your accreditation, please send me a message and I will hook you up with the new accreditation agency that we use. It's called Middle States. All right? Everybody goes to NACAS. Do you guys know that the former president of NACAS was making more money than our president? And I'm not talking about him because this is public information. Tony Miranda was making $300,000 a year off of who? Us. All of our dues, all of our bills. Anytime you had an inspection come, right? You had the team come out. And unfortunately, by the team, it becomes subjective and not objective. You know what? What's your name, sweetheart?
Jackie.
Miss Jackie, you know what? I don't like your glasses today, so you know what? I'm going to give you a mark off. Oh, hold on. You using wall clippers inside? You know what? You got to use the Andis. We don't want to do that. That's how the accreditation agency makes money. They come in and they give you fines on bullshit.
Are you serious?
Can I keep it a buck? I mean, anybody in here got diabetes? Okay, all right, that's fair. That's fair, right? Yes, that is true. They will come in and be like, hold on, wait a minute. Hold on. You use Amazon speakers and not Panasonic? Yeah, no. Mark off. Our sign. You guys look at our logo. I don't have it with me, but it's a beaker that has a shear stuck inside. We sent the mock-up to NACAS. They approved it. The team comes out and says, we don't like the way that sign reads. I said, well, I really don't care. You approved it. Well, did we? Gmail, NACAS, hit print. This is during the visit now. Print. I said, so this guy named, and I can't tell you his name because they all might be doing business with him right now. He approved this. He said, yeah, our sign is good to go. Well, it doesn't say Barber School. It says Hair Lab Detroit. I said, that's our incorporation name. We are doing a DBA. By the way, these people who work for these accreditation agencies, they don't know our business. They have no idea about our industry. Do not let them get you. Call me. I got you. So we had to fight that. Why do I have to fight for something that you approved? Why do I have to fight so hard to do the good work? Accreditation. If you can do your business in school cash-based or with a local community credit union, do it. Sometimes money and numbers follow. They don't lead. Most people who want to start a school, they, oh yeah, I get $20,000 student, ooh, I'm about to be rich, right? Right? It's so much red tape that you got to go through to get that little bit of dollar, and at the end of the day, it's not worth it. The headache, the stress, my wife is outside right now trying to get our system switched over on a Saturday. These people, your accreditation is contingent upon the Department of Education. The Department of Education is who funds the entire world. Beauty and barber schools must adhere to state licensing and accreditation requirements, which can be complex and demanding. Listen, don't do it alone. Hire a consultant. Please. At least that way, as you can, my dad likes to use the analogy, go and grow. You want to grow and go. We can't do that on our own. It's too much. Any questions so far? Schools culture, we talked a little bit about that. As you guys can see, and that's me being Black Ken back there. My wife and I were Ken and Barbie. This is my wife, Lauren. And these are some of our instructors. One of the things that we like to do in our culture is we strive each day for excellence. The level of professionalism needs to be profound, and we have to have fun. Education should be fun. Teaching should be fun. Get creative with your lessons. That old school shaving the balloon and pow and shaving cream going all over people, your floor, right? Cut it out. Let's get a little bit more advanced. Okay? A quality education, what does that look like? Number one thing that we're teaching is interpersonal skills. These students don't understand coming up to somebody and shaking their hands and just, hey, how you doing, sir? I'm Roderick, you are?
Samir.
Samir, nice to meet you. That's a good handshake too. Right? How to speak to people. They got this thing called now, hey, you guys may have heard of a quiet chair?
Yeah.
Right? So you come in to get your hair done, but you don't speak. Do y'all know how that would eat my ass alive? I can't talk to you while I'm cutting your hair?
Oh, what now?
It's called a quiet chair.
Never heard of
She
it.
said, no, what now? Can I give you an example?
Yeah.
What's your name, sweetie?
Shania.
Shania?
Shania.
Shania.
Uh-huh.
Shania, I'm your client, Roderick, but I requested a quiet chair.
Oh, shut up. In my place.
Zip your lips. Shut your face, Shania, right? But you come in, you get a hair done, and they just sit.
How much you paying? Like, shut up.
Not enough attention, obviously, right? But they don't understand that we're in the people business.
I like
right?
that. I like your
We're in the
option.
people business. Communication is always going to be
Be
key.
happy to.
You can't give a proper consultation if nobody want to answer you back.
Right.
I'm just supposed to assume I know what you want. 21st century students need academically rigorous and real world relevant beauty and barber education. This young man said it earlier, make it make sense. We gotta make it make sense. Why do we do what we do? Why am I teaching you to hold your clipper with 4 fingers across the back, 1 in between the don't pull out in front of me no more, and yes, I'd love to marry you fingers? Why is this called a seed? Tough crowd. Why is this called a seed cutting motion, right? I'm like, hey y'all, it's called a seed cutting motion. Mr. Sam, what does that mean? I said A, B, and they yell C. I said C. I said, no, senor. They say C. I said C. Right? My style of teaching is more so like edutainment, because you have to understand that when students are having fun, they retain more information. If you guys look at my Instagram, I'll dance. My students be putting me in all kind of crazy ass videos. I don't care. You know what I care about? The fact that they know at the end of the day, they got somebody who loves them, who believes in them, and understands that it doesn't matter. I'm gonna be there for them. My motto, every student, every day, whatever it takes. Every student, every day, whatever it takes. This is the mindset that we have to have being in the Beauty of Barber School business right now, y'all. Every student, every day, whatever it takes. Everybody all right with me? Can we keep going? All right, now, we talked about interpersonal skills, we talked about the life skills part, but let me tell you something about time. Our students today do not care about time. Time, not money, is our most precious asset as people and practitioners in the personal appearance industry. I had a student come in, he just did a simple taper. I'm looking at the clock, haven't taken him a long ass time. But he over there, you know, they gotta take a step back. Look, this jackass comes across the room. Look again. Man, what you looking at? Man, Mr. Sam, I'm trying to make sure it's straight, but you need to get up a little bit closer, brother. You look like Ray Charles right now. Can't see shit. All right? Time, not money, is our most precious asset. Start doing time drills with your students. All right, y'all, listen, at the state board, you know, you got 25 minutes to do this type of haircut. Every haircut that you do on the clinic floor needs to be 25 minutes. After 25 minutes, I'm taking the clippers. They need that push. That's real world. It's rigorous. We make it too easy on our students. We pump them up for failure. We tell them, hey, you're gonna be great. No liabilities, y'all. Hey man, listen, that haircut, mid, and use their terms too. It pisses them off. I love it. Yo, trash. Trash? Yep, no cap. And his ass gonna need a cap. Because you gave him a old Lord haircut. Anybody know what an old Lord haircut is? You cut it up too high and say, oh Lord. Time management. This is what I'm getting for. All right, time management, super important. Anybody got time? I want to make sure.
So 5 till 5.
5:25?
5 till 5.
John, what time is it, bro?
4:56.
4:56. All right, we got about 15 minutes.
5
left.
till
All right,
5.
Here we go. Thank you. All right, now we talked a little bit about globalization. What is globalization, Roderick saying as well? To thrive in this dynamic environment, beauty and barber schools must be adaptable. Don't think local, think global, right? Now that global means I need to make sure that my students can understand every texture of hair. Why do curls need moisture? Why is it the straight hair cuts better when it's wet so I can control it? Right? We need to start breaking this thing down to its very last compound, because if we don't, we're going to lose them. Can't lose students. Do not let them quit on you. Now, these are some of the things, and these are my rules. You guys can take photos and pictures or whatever. And if you need me to, send me your email. I will send you this PowerPoint so you can go over with your team. Again, I'm not Hollywood, I'm neighborhood. But here's the first one. We need to embrace innovation. We teach a social media class. Anybody ever heard of this program called Beauty as a Business? Yes? Okay. I utilize beauty as a business. Now, do most of my students understand social media? Yeah, for the most part. But how is that social media really, really focused on building their clientele? This is what beauty as a business does, all right? The fact that my students have to take their test online, we use Pivot Point, right? I want to give them that real feel of having to sit inside of that state board office, in front of that computer, and click them goddamn buttons, right? Click them goddamn buttons. That's what they have to do. Click them goddamn buttons, right? The other thing, number one, embracing innovation. The second number one, and I'm going to say everything is number one because all of these have equal importance. Industry partnerships. What products do you use at your school? If whatever products you use in your school, you better be getting some free education from those products, because you keep lining these people's pockets and they keep sitting back. One of the reasons why I use Wall, not just because I'm one of the educators for them, but when I needed education, they came through. They pulled up on me, right? And my students love that. They love the fact that their instructor works for a company and it's on their school kits. They love the fact that they can turn their books and go, oh shit, that's Mr. Sam. And I'm like, yeah, here I am. And y'all running me crazy. I want to quit. I want to burn the school down, right? Comprehensive support services to students, reading programs, financial literacy. Has anybody ever heard of CUNY? Listen, get CUNY, get Money Ed. It is, remember that little girl I told you all about? Guess what she has now? And I was waiting because she got her $13.50 refund check. We call it change check back in the day. Refund check, cost of living check, right? My wife said, babe, if this girl called us today, I said, I know. We waiting, we at home. I said, she gonna call. No phone call. I said, she gonna call us in the weekend. No phone call. We see her on Monday, and I said, hey baby, come in for a second. Yeah, Mrs. Sam, what's up? I said, you cashed your check? Yeah, I got my bank account. You remember that lesson we had in Money EDU? Perfect. Beauty as a business. Social media. And not only that, but your instructors also need to know how to properly utilize social media, because that's where your students live. This is how they communicate. I need to be able to communicate with them, so guess what I need to learn? I need to learn what they know. Integrating leadership and personal development programs. We have a leadership program at our school. We have a dean's list at our school, right? Those leadership programs entail your students coming up at the huddles and giving a presentation. On Fridays, we have student peer-led programs where we choose one student each week to come and teach a class to our other students with the direction of an educator. Because I ain't pay all this money to be taught by my classmate. Y'all know they talk that shit. I love it though. I love it. I'm like, shut up. Learn about the history of barbering, right? Provide professional development opportunities for your teaching and administrative staff. How many of you guys go to the CEA conference? How many of you all are members of AACS? We got one. Listen, join these organizations. You're not in it alone. There's complimentary resources for these things. Yes, ma'am.
You said CE?
CEA. It's Cosmetology Education Association.
And what was the other one?
It's umbrella up underneath the American Association of Cosmetology Schools. Okay? So if you join AACS, they're gonna invite you to conferences. They have a conference for educators once a year called CEA, and then they have another conference that's for school owners. Next weekend, they're going to be doing, they're going to the Hill, and they're going to talk to different legislators and representatives about why it's not smart, I don't want to say dumb,
Right.
not smart to defund cosmetology, barber, nails, and aesthetic schools. They're going to go fight that. That's what your membership does. It helps you to stay in business. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. They ask for a donation from each school as a part of the membership. So now, guess what? When you need help with your accreditation, you know who you call? You call ACTS. When you need to train your instructors, you know who you call? You call ACTS. And there's tons and tons of additional education out there for your team as well, all right? Highlight how trained staff can better support students' personal and leadership growth, all right? Big up your instructors. Tell them how good of a job they're doing, because that's the number one thing that breaks morale. They start to bring outside influences in, and it just creates a not so good culture for your students. Everybody with me? Any questions so far? What time is it?
5 after 5.
Guess what? I'm done. I mean it. Give yourselves a round of applause, please.